So Delaware is a favorite jurisdiction for companies in America. We've even had some memorable rulings from the judges there, people like Leo Strine, who are pretty pithy in what they say. But lately, they've been holding arbitration hearings in private, in secret for companies, and companies often prefer that. But a U.S. judge has just said they can't do that. Ren, what's the thinking there?
Well, essentially, companies, as you say, really like arbitration because it's cheaper, faster, and they can keep it confidential.
Right.
So Delaware said, look, we're gonna get into this business as well. We want to use our judges to privately settle private disputes. But a good government group said, hey, wait a second, public judges doing essentially
public
a
judges
civil
paid
trial,
for by the public,
paid for by the taxpayers, settling cases essentially in private. We have a right to access to court. We have the right to see what our court system is doing. And this is essentially a civil trial in name.
So this U.S. judge decided this is a civil trial.
Correct.
And because the public are paying for the judges and so on.
And it violates the First Amendment, which is, of course, prevents any restrictions on speech, not only by the speaker, but the listener, and the public is assumed to be the listener in public proceedings like civil trials.
Now, these proceedings have been so secret, we don't know exactly when the first one was, but we do know there have been 6 of them since they started.
They set it up in 2009, they established the rules in 2010 and said, let's go ahead and do it. There have been 6 since. Big one just settled last November involving a very important issue for the M&A world, which is material adverse change clauses. When can you back out of a deal because there's been a change?
And we don't know what the judge said.
We don't know what the decision was. Actually, the party settled without the judge's help. But something like that, that's a crucial piece of information for companies to know. When can they back out of a deal?
As a precedent, as a body of law.
As when is it legal to back out of a deal? Well, now, if you're going to decide all those kinds of issues in secret, then there's no guidance. There's no legal, helpful guidance for companies to know what the rules are.
So there's nothing here which would say companies can't say, well, we'll hire an arbitrator, go and do it outside the court system, different question, right?
Growing like gangbusters in recent years because many companies at least perceive that it's so much more efficient and so much cheaper.
So this is a question of when those public judges are involved, the court, the judge, the other judge just said you can't
has to know what's going on, and there's a good reason for that. Other than that's one reason is to hold the courts and judges accountable, make sure they're acting fairly. But the other practical reason is, of course, it's good to have that precedent out there, to have the rule making and the rules very clear about what's legal and what's not. If you do things in secret, you're going to lose that, and that's a real cost from a practical point of view, not only from a legal point of view.
Okay, we're glad about that too. It's good for the M&A practitioners. It can be good for the media too, especially when these judges have a bit of a public rant. We'll be following that story, and we'll have more breaking views tomorrow.